We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al-Ansar.
Doctors and guests on the Medical Files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al-Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al-Ansar.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. All praise due to Allah, the Lord, cherisher, nourisher, sustainer and master of the universe, the most gracious, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Ya Allah, it is only you that we worship and it is your guidance that we seek. Ya Allah, keep us in the straight path. Ya Allah, shower us with your choice of blessings. Ya Allah, shower us with your guidance. Ya Allah, guide us. Greetings, salam, salutations on our beloved Nabi Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's time for Medical Files, brought to you by the Islamic Medical Association of South Africa and hosted by myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we welcome our listeners on Radio Al-Ansar, CII Radio, Voice of the Cape, Radio 786, Sirius FM and IFM Port Elizabeth, and all listening to us on audio streaming and other platforms. We're live on Facebook as well. And our topic for discussion is blood transfusions and blood products. And our very special guest this evening is Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo. Dr. Ngcobo, good evening to you and thank you for joining me in the program this evening.
Good evening to you and your listeners. Thank you for the invite.
Absolute pleasure, sir. Just to introduce our guest, Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo is the senior manager at the South African National Blood Services, and he manages all medically related governance, risk, and compliance. He is also the president-elect of the Africa Society for Blood Transfusion, that is the AFSBT. Now, this month is the National Blood Donor Month and also the World Blood Donor Day, is commemorated annually on the 14th of June. Now, Dr. Ngcobo, talk to us about the the National Blood Donor Month and also the World Blood Donor Day. What's its significance?
The World Blood Donor Month and the National Blood Donor Month is celebrated all over the world on the 14th of June of every year. It is the day when we celebrate our donors. It is the day when we thank our donors for having been there for us. It is the day when we'll be celebrating that the donors have sacrificed their lives, they donated blood and saved many, many lives. And the theme for this year is very appropriate as well. It says, give blood, give hope, together we save lives.
Mm-hmm. Give blood, give hope. I think I love that thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about give blood, give hope, I introduced you, as one of the managers from the SANBS, the senior manager from the South African National Blood Services. Can you tell us a little about the SANBS, please?
South African National Blood Service is a non-for-profit organization, meaning we're not affiliated to the government, contrary to what people may think, but we are licensed by the National Health Act, Chapter 8. It is the government that has to give us the license to operate. We operate in 8 provinces in the country, except in Western Cape, because in Western Cape they have their own blood service, which is called Western Blood Transfusion Services.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give a bit of history about that, you may, depending on how old you are, there used to be many blood transfusion services in the country. Yes. And in 2001, most of them, except Western Cape, amalgamated to form South African National Blood Service.
Mm-hmm.
So we supply blood to about 87% of the population.
Okay.
And we collect close to 1 million blood products every year, blood and blood products every year.
Excellent, excellent. But I know as our discussion will proceed, even that 1 million is too little. Am I correct? Because there's always problems with shortages and things like that.
Yeah, but we are able to meet the demands of our patients all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past 2 years, we have been very happy that our donors have showed up. Currently, as we speak, we are sitting at about 10 days of stock level.
Fantastic.
That's again because our blood donors are showing up. They want to save our patients. So basically, we want to thank our donors for having been there with us. Some of these donors have been there with us for many years, and also these donors, they carried us through COVID, and here we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I can tell you with confidence that we have sufficient stocks of blood, and we want to thank our donors for showing up.
And that's very good news. Now, recently you did have a media launch as well at your offices in Constantia.
Yeah.
And you also indicated to me that you'll have opened new offices in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, as well in Mount Eskom. Tell us a bit about your offices.
It's not that new though, because we opened it just during COVID. I think it was in 2021. We moved from our offices, which were in Pinetown and in Paradise Valley, and we moved to the state-of-the-art offices in Mount Eskom.
Mm-hmm.
We actually upgraded. We have everything, and it's state-of-the-art is what the donors want to see. We have all the state-of-the-art labs that you can think of. It is us that we upgraded.
Okay.
And the donors as well, if you are living around in the Durban North, we also have a clinic there. Then you can go and donate blood there. And we are also able to give you what we call a blood tour.
Mm-hmm.
We'll show you how your blood gets received as a donor and up until how it is dispatched to the various hospitals.
Excellent. Let's just discuss different blood products. Just a bit of an overview of blood products. Can you explain the different types of blood products that are available, such as whole blood, red blood cells, platelets, plasma, etc.?
Okay. You see, when you donate blood at our clinic, you donate that red stuff. It's called whole blood.
Okay.
So because of advanced technology, we are able to split that whole blood that we donate at the clinic. We are able to split it in what we call red cells. The red cells, those are the products that would be used when a patient has anemia,
Mm-hmm.
or someone who is bleeding, is losing a lot of red cells. That patient would need red cells. Then when we separate those things, the other product that we have, which is like liquid, and is kind of yellow,
Mm-hmm.
that we call it plasma.
Okay.
That we use when we have some problems with your clotting,
Mm-hmm.
when your blood doesn't clot,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you have some kind of a bleeding disorder. We also use platelets as well when you have some kind of a bleeding disorder.
And how are these products collected, processed, and stored to ensure their safety and efficacy?
Again, we rely on our patriotic donors who donate blood every day. We need about 3.5 units of blood and blood products daily so that we are able to be self-sufficient. So what would then happen? You go to the clinic, you would be received by friendly nurses. They will ask you some questions on your health. And more importantly, also, they will ask you some question on your sexual lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Once you pass that test, you would then be taken to a table, not a table, a bed, bleeding bed, where a friendly nurse would take your blood. It doesn't take long. It takes about 10 minutes, then the unit would be full. But the whole process would take about 30 minutes. So you need about 30 minutes to fill in the forms, and then you get blood. We then transport that blood, whole blood, to various labs in the country. Here in Durban, it would be transported to Mount Eskom, so that it could be processed further.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets to the Mount Eskom, we'll then separate it into the three products that I told you about:
Mm-hmm.
red cells, plasma as well as platelets. And also we'll have to do some tests. And the test that we do in SANBS, to exclude some infections, we do HIV test. We also test for hepatitis B. We also test for hepatitis C as well as syphilis.
Okay.
And if a donor tests positive for any of those viral markers and syphilis, that blood would be discarded.
Okay.
It won't be used. At the same Ngcobo as well, in Joburg, we do it in Constantia Clove. We'll also test for the blood group, what type of blood group this donation is. And there's 4 types of blood groups. We have group A, we have group B, we have group AB, and we have also group O. The unit of blood can only be released if it has been tested and there was found negative for the test that we test for.
We are discussing blood products, blood transfusion, and this is an interactive program. If you have any questions for the learned doctor who's in the studio with us, Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo, you may forward them to us via WhatsApp on 060-904-1056. I repeat, 060-904-1056. Now, Dr. Ngcobo, let's talk about the eligibility criteria for blood donations. How can individuals become blood donors, and what is the criteria to determine the eligibility?
To become a safe blood donor, you must weigh at least 50 kilograms, because if you don't weigh less than that, you run the risk of fainting after blood donation. You must also be between the ages of 16 as well up to 65.
Okay.
But even when you reach the age of 65 and you are healthy and your doctor considers you healthy, you can even donate post 65 years. As long as the doctor satisfies you that you are healthy. And generally, you must be in good health and you must lead a sexually safe lifestyle. And in your conscience, there we appeal to your conscience. You must consider your blood to be safe for transfusion to someone else, to a patient. And ideally would prefer that you donate regularly.
Yes. Now, talking about being healthy, not having not having any infections, etc. What is the screening process for blood donors and testing procedures for blood products?
Okay, when you come to the clinics, as mentioned earlier on, you have to complete a form. It's about your general medical conditions. We'll be asking you about whether you have any chronic conditions, be it diabetes or be it hypertension, or whether you have been sick recently, whether you've had an op as well. That is the first part. But having said that, even if you indicate that you have diabetes or you have hypertension, that does not preclude you from donating blood as long as your conditions are well controlled by your doctor.
And if one has high cholesterol, what happens then? Does that make a difference?
We wouldn't know whether you have a high cholesterol because we don't test for it. But if you tell us that you have high cholesterol and you have not had any cardiovascular event, meaning things like stroke and things like that, but then we'll also need to have a letter from your treating doctor that tells us that your condition is well controlled and that you are safe to donate blood. Because the thing is, in as much as we want blood, we don't want to compromise the donor's health as well.
A question came here on my private WhatsApp. Good topic. Please ask the learned doctor, if I'm on blood thinners, do I qualify to donate blood?
If you're on blood thinners, you would not qualify to donate blood because if you're on blood thinners, you may be prone to bleeding a lot, so you wouldn't qualify to donate blood.
Thank you for that. 060-904-1056. Any questions for Dr. Ngcobo? We are discussing blood transfusions. We're discussing blood products. So any questions, please forward them to us via WhatsApp on 060-904-1056. Let's talk a bit about research and development. Are I'm sure the research is being conducted to improve blood products or develop new therapies.
All the time.
Yeah. And how does the National Blood Service collaborate with researchers, clinicians, industry partners to advance blood product development?
We always want to be where the big shots are playing. We always want to be up to date with what is happening with regards to the research. We also have our own department, which is transactional research at South African National Blood Service, where we conduct some research on how best we can make the blood to be safe. But we also collaborate with the big shots from the first world countries, from the US or from the UK. We do collaborate with AAPP, which is an American organization. We also collaborate with an European mainly, which is called ISBT, International Society for Blood Transfusion. We also collaborate with African Society for Blood Transfusion in terms of research, because we want to make the blood as safe and sufficient as we possibly can.
Now, I'm sure there's been huge advances in technology, etc. Is there some recent technology that's come about?
The main consideration at this stage is to make the blood as safe as possible. We want to, and our biggest challenge is the infections and the emerging infections. One of the technologies that is current, it is called pathogen inactivation, where the blood and blood products are put on some irradiation, and we add certain chemicals, in layman's term. And what that technology wants to do, you want to kill all pathogens that could possibly be in that blood and blood products. But having said that, we still test. So,
No.
but we haven't implemented that yet in South Africa, because there's a lot of things to be considered. The price of the blood, the more interventions we introduce, the more expensive the blood product would be.
I think you're preempting a question I'm going to be posing to you. But we will talk about that later. Now, obviously, blood donation is something that the public needs to be made aware of. It is something that, it needs to be advertised on a continuous basis. So you can get more and more donors. Now, how does the National Blood Service promote public awareness about the importance of blood donation and the need for safe blood products?
We are very visible. We're all visible in all social media you can think of, be it Facebook, be it X. We are there. And we also have to be there in terms of technology, because we also have to target the youth, and we know where we find the youth.
Yes.
But also when we have serious strategies, you will see us being more visible in places like the malls. And also we do flight some of our adverts on national TV and radio stations.
And the age group of your donors currently, what sort of age group are your donors from? And the majority, I know you said you accept blood from everyone from 16 till then.
Yeah.
But what's currently the age group that's donating?
The age group that is donating blood, most people that are donating blood are about between the ages of about 30 to about 40 to 45. I suppose those are the people who are almost settling in life.
Yes.
But we target all age groups. And KZN in particular, we rely a lot on a big percentage of our blood comes from the schools as well as from the universities. We are big there.
Okay. So you have these, let's call them clinics at the schools, at the various varsities.
We have two types of clinics. We have fixed clinics, where is brick and mortar buildings, like we have them in Westwood, for instance, not far away from here. We have them in Musgrave, all over the country, basically. So you can walk into those clinics and donate. But we also have what we call mobile clinics.
Okay.
I think we run about 350 mobile clinics, quite a lot, more than 100 mobile clinics every day.
Okay.
Where we go to the factories, to the schools, to get blood there.
And I'm sure that you'll are well received all over.
Sorry?
I'm sure you'll are well received all over.
Yeah, we are. We are well received all over. So, but yeah, the split is close to about 50-50 in terms of the blood we collect, whether from the what we call mobile clinics, as well as the fixed sites.
You are listening to Medical Files, brought to you by the Islamic Medical Association of South Africa and hosted by myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. We are discussing blood transfusions and blood products. Our guest this evening is Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo, the Senior Manager for Governance, Risk and Compliance at the South African National Blood Services. Our topic is blood transfusion and blood products. This is an interactive program. If you have any questions, forward them to us via WhatsApp on 060-904-1056. We'll visit the marketplace, and on the other side of this, we'll continue our discussion, and we'll be discussing blood transfusions. Do stay with us.
At this time of trial and worry, the blessings of charity are the ideal means to avoid calamity and despair. The Al-Imdad Foundation gives you the opportunity to sponsor a share in a borehole in South Africa for just 1,000 Rand and provide what the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, called the best form of charity. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
It's official. Checkers Foods Kawi Park is our first food store with a halal butchery, bakery and deli certified by NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust. This will ensure high standards and ethical practices across our butchery, bakery and deli from farm to table. So visit Checkers Foods Kawi Park for an exceptional shopping experience that keeps getting better and better.
Join Al Ansar Outreach in spreading warmth this winter. For just 130 Rand, you can sponsor a blanket and bring comfort to families in KZN who cannot afford winter essentials. Together, we can make a difference. Don't let the cold win. Share the warmth, show you care, sponsor today and be part of the change. Contact Outreach on 031-208-1601 for more information.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031-306-4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Krugerrands are a timeless investment. Every day, thousands trust Issa Bullion to buy, store, and sell them effortlessly. With 16 years of global expertise, we make gold trading simple. Trade 24/5 from anywhere on our user-friendly platform, a first for South Africa. Each Krugerrand is fully insured and stored in high-security vaults. Enjoy competitive pricing and guaranteed buyback. Issa Bullion, built on trust, driven by expertise, focused on your future. Visit isabullion.co.za today.
Durban Halal Meats, your premier source for top quality halal certified meats in South Africa. With over a decade of experience, we deliver succulent lamb, tender beef, juicy chicken, and flavorful mutton to restaurants, caterers, the hospitality industry, and to your table. We're also the first halal butcher for you to shop online. Enjoy competitive pricing and personalized solutions crafted just for you. Find us on durbanhalalmeats.co.za or visit our store at 84 Felix Dlamini Road. Durban Halal Meats, where quality meets trust.
24/7, 365.
Welcome to Medical Files, brought to you by the Islamic Medical Association of South Africa and hosted by myself, Faizal MJ Suleman. Our topic for discussion, blood transfusion and blood products. Our guest this evening, Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo, and Dr. Ngcobo is the South African National Blood Services Senior Manager, and he manages all medically related governance, risk and compliance. He's also the President-elect of Africa Society for Blood Transfusion. Now, talking of blood transfusion, Dr. Ngcobo, what are the main reasons for blood transfusion?
The main reason for blood transfusion, a lot of our blood goes to medically related conditions, be it cancer or any other disease. The second group of the blood recipients are related to obstetrics as well as gynecological problems. One of the problems that we have in the country is that some women tend to bleed after giving birth, and those also are the second most recipients of our blood and blood products.
Now, talking of that, so I was going to ask you, who are the main recipients? I think you have answered that question, saying that it's mainly these ladies who are undergoing pregnancy issues and things like that. And what are the different types of blood transfusions?
Blood transfusions?
Yep.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
I'm talking about whole blood transfusion, red blood cell transfusion, platelet transfusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier on, the blood that you donate at the clinic is called whole blood, and it is then divided into three components, which is red cells, platelets, as well as plasma. And these three products treat different conditions. For instance, red cells would treat anemia, platelets and plasma would treat bleeding disorders. So if you are donating blood, you must know that you are saving at least 3 lives, minimum, because your blood, the whole blood that you have donated would have been split to 3 products.
And what are the risks associated with blood transfusion?
One of the things that people would tell us that they're afraid of getting AIDS and things like that, but that's not the case, because we follow strict procedures in terms of when we procure blood from you, so you'll never get such things. And of course, some of the things that you will feel when you put in a needle, you'll feel a little bit of discomfort or pain, but that is something you can live with. So basically, all in all, blood donating is about your time, and there could be a bit of discomfort.
And how often can I donate blood, Doc?
We would want people who want to donate blood, every 56 days at least.
Every 56 days?
Yeah, if you are donating whole blood, we want you to donate every 56 days. But if you are donating other products like plasma or platelets, you can do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
You must know those products, the platelets as well as plasma, are also very critical as well. And we have a technology that is able to only extract platelets or plasma from you, and return the rest of the products back to your body. So the people who donate platelets as well as plasma, they can donate more often than the people who donate whole blood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting how in that process, the conversion is done, what's needed is taken, the rest of it returned.
Yeah, but there you need at least an hour, because it's like a cycle. We extract the whole of blood from you, gets into our tubes, into the bag, and then the rest of the products that we donate is returned.
Okay.
So if we want only plasma from you, the process is called plasmapheresis. So we'll only take plasma. If we want platelets, we'll only take platelets.
But that's all in one process, one procedure?
In one procedure, yeah. One needle, we only prick you once. But for those apheresis programs, you need at least an hour. It takes a bit long. So you may want to bring your laptop and work, and we'll have free Wi-Fi and things like that.
Oh, excellent. I like the way you say just one prick, but I think that's the most frightening part.
It's one prick. We take in, we take out what we return back to you what we don't need.
Okay. There's a little poster that's come to me from the SANBS.
Oh, okay.
And it says, pledge to save lives and bring your goals to life in 2025. We are the Pulse. Donate blood and save lives. Please donate blood at the David Lando Community Center in Overport at the hall on Sunday, the 22nd of June, 2025, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the address is 5 Crocus Road, Asherville, Durban. But that's for our listeners in Durban. Yep. That's I think it's a great initiative. There's another question that's come through. It says, Salams, you often hear that there's a shortage of blood, especially during the holiday seasons. To alleviate this, the donors should be paid considering the patients are made a small fortune for the donated blood. Are paid a small fortune. A lot of people that are unemployed would be happy to donate blood for a small stipend. It comes from a Salim. Your thoughts on that, doctor?
The World Health Organization, who advocates that the countries should have non-remunerated blood donors. We want people who donate for the right reason. We would like people who are patriotic, who want to save lives. Studies have shown that if you pay blood donors, you may attract people with high risk for certain infections, such as HIV, because, they will be chasing money. And a lot of studies have shown that if you pay donors, the prevalence of such diseases tend to increase. And in our country, with a high HIV prevalence of HIV, for instance, it would be risky for us to pay donors. I am aware that the general public knows that in certain countries in US, UK, the donors are paid.
Okay.
That is because their HIV prevalence there is low.
Okay.
But as again mentioned, not all donors are paid, even in the US. World Health Organization is saying, let us move to donors who are non-remunerated. Let us have donors who are patriotic. Let us have donors who want to donate for the right reasons.
Thank you, doctor. Message comes through. Good evening. Great interview. A great interview, awareness, promotion of blood donation. This is what was needed in our Overport area, which is a large population, but the attendance is very low. After this awareness, we look forward to increases in donors. I think, thank you for that particular message.
Thank you very much. We'll appreciate that.
Dr. Ngcobo, can blood transfusions transmit diseases?
No, it won't. You mean blood transfusion?
Yep. If I'm a donor, if I've got a disease and if somebody's receiving the blood, can that transfusion transmit the disease?
As I did mention, there's always risk, but we do screen donors. They complete that medical question. And also, we screen donors for sexual behavior so that we exclude infections such as HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, as well as syphilis. Those are the tests that we test for. But, as you know, there's something which is called window period, which does not completely exclude the fact that the patient could be HIV infected, for example. In such instances, there could be a chance of blood being transmitted while the donor is in the window period.
Now, supposing, a donor has donated blood and the tests subsequently prove that he's HIV positive, will the South African National Blood Services let the person know that he's been tested positive?
Yeah, we do. Let me just get back again to the previous question that we asked.
Okay.
Again, there is that window period that we talk about where the patient could be infected, but the test that you're using is not able to pick it up. But in SANBS, we have employed the state-of-the-art test. For example, the test that we use is the state-of-the-art. It's called NET testing. It has reduced the window period for HIV to 4.6 days.
Okay.
So that is also because of the high HIV prevalence. And two, each and every unit is tested for HIV, Hep B, Hep C, as well as syphilis. Can you repeat the question that I just asked?
Yes. The question that I asked was, can I get AIDS from donating blood?
Yeah,
and, yes,
that's the question.
That's the question. Okay, you answered. And this next question was, if I test HIV positive, will the South African National Blood Services advise me that I've tested positive?
If you test HIV positive, we have procedures in place where we are able to recall you, and we have highly trained nurse counselors who would counsel you. But we'll call you. We'll just tell you that there's some problems with you, and we'll have to come to our offices. then you'll be cancelled. But also, if you are not comfortable, you can be referred to your doctor. We'll then liaise with your doctor who will then do a counseling for you. Of course, we have to tell you.
But you'll obviously have the necessary
There's also
information.
confidentiality, yeah.
Yes, that's what I was getting to.
We maintain that confidentiality. You can rest assured that no one else except you would know later.
Okay, the next question that comes through is that if I'm gay, can I donate blood?
You can donate blood if you're gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. And yes, I did ask you about whether you would advise us. I think it's time for us to take an ad break at this stage. Just to remind our listeners again that this is an interactive program. If you have any questions, you may forward them to us via WhatsApp on 060-904-1056. We are discussing blood transfusion and blood products.
This segment is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Kenfield Auto.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب.
Car won't start?
Kenfield Auto.
Noisy brakes?
Kenfield Auto.
Due for a service?
Kenfield Auto. Kenfield Auto, the answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop to handle them all. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call us on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto.
Immerse yourself in the love and praise of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, every Wednesday from 1:30 to 2 p.m. Be with the Beloved, hosted by Maulana Muhammad Salih Jusuf Arbi Qadri Moini, explores the beautiful qasaid and nas that bring us closer to his blessed legacy. Join us for a profound experience of spiritual intimacy and devotion right here on Radio Al-Ansar. Elevate your spirit and reconnect with the heart of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Allahumma إنك ترى ما نزل بنا في غزة من الأحوال يا ذا الجلال والعزة يا ذا الجبروت والعزة اللهم أعز أهل غزة اللهم فرج عن أهل غزة اللهم فرح أهل غزة اللهم انصر أهل غزة اللهم داو جريحهم اللهم اشف مريضهم اللهم اقبل شهيدهم اللهم ارحم ميتهم اللهم كفف جراحاتهم وبرد آلامهم اللهم واجعل لهم وللمسلمين فرجا قريبا يا الله اللهم فرج عنا وعن المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين واخذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين يا رب العالمين سبحانك سبحانك ترى الظالمين فتمهلهم حتى يظنوا أنك تهملهم وتبتلي الصالحين في الدنيا حتى يستيئسوا فإن استيئسوا أتيتهم بنصرهم اللهم إنك تعلم أن جراحات المسلمين كثيرة وآلامهم كثيرة في كل مكان وفي كل زمان اللهم فانصرنا على أعدائنا يا الله اللهم فثبت أقدامنا يا الله.
Audio stream across the world on radioalansar.co.za.
Medical files on Radio Ansar, CI Radio, Voice of the Cape, Radio 786, Sirius FM, Radio Islam, and IFM Port Elizabeth. And topic for discussion is blood transfusion and blood products. And our special guest, Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo from the South African National Blood Services. Now, Dr. Ngcobo, we'll be discussing blood transfusion, blood products. Now, is blood tested each time that I come to donate?
Each and every unit when you come and donate is tested for the infections that I mentioned, which is HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, as well as syphilis. All the time. Even if you have donated many times, every time you come to donate, we test for those.
And every time I come to donate, I've got to complete a whole host of forms as well.
Exactly.
So why do you have to do it all the time? I mean, don't you have a database for me?
We have a database for you. Know where you stay. We know what your age is, but we wouldn't know whether some things have changed for you. We wouldn't know unless we ask you whether you have been hospitalized, whether you have a new chronic disease. So all the time we have to know about it. But we are moving to a stage where you may electronically fill in the form in your office before you come to us. But that is still being developed.
And I'm sure that you also got access to the national databases. Like, for example, if I've been for some special blood test or something, I'm sure you can get access to that as well. Or you need our special consent for that.
No. We don't have access to your
to medical
test.
records.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Okay.
We don't.
Okay. And at any one time, how much of blood is actually taken? How much of blood is donated?
When we take blood from you, we take anything between 450 to about 480. Roughly, that is about half a liter of the body Coke or drink that you drink. That is the what we take from you.
And if you take that, does my body have sufficient blood to? I mean, how many pints of blood are in our body?
The blood that you have in your system is dependent on your body weight. The bigger you are, the more blood that you have. Roughly, you have about 80 mils of blood per kilogram. So if you weigh about 60 kilograms, it would then be you would have about 4.8 liters of blood. So that is why you have a cutoff, because if you weigh far less than 50 kilograms, your body may not handle this 580 that we are talking about. Because if you're a 60 kilograms person, it means when you take about 450 mils or 480 mils of blood, we're taking only about 80% of your blood.
Okay.
So if you then weigh less than 50 kilograms, and we still take 480 mils, would be taking far more than 10% of your blood.
Yes.
And that might pose problems such as for example, you might faint because of acute loss of blood.
And why, every time we come in, we need our fingers pricked. Why doesn't one get his fingers pricked each time?
But one of the things that we have to test for your iron levels before we bleed you. We need to be sure that at every donation that you are not short of red cells. We have to make sure that you are not anemic, because remember, we are going to take blood from you. So you don't want to compromise you. Because if we do take without checking, we could actually worsen your situation and make you to be anemic.
After I've donated blood, how long before I leave the clinic? And we've taken my blood. Are there any after effects, side effects? In fact, more after effects than side effects.
Some of the side effects that would get it's not common though, would get some people fainting, but that is also not common. It's one of the side effects that we can see. You may get a bit of dizziness that you will still recover from. I did tell you about the uncomfortable needle that we have to inject on you. But all of those side effects are rare. Fainting is rare, for instance. And if it does happen, we have capable nurses who are capable of treating you.
And the question that comes through is that if one is addicted to dependence-producing drugs, can one then donate blood?
What do you mean by dependent?
Well,
you mean drugs like...
Let's just say, I think to interpret the one is a drug addict.
If you're a drug addict, you would not be able to donate blood. Because if you're a drug addict, you are at risk of certain infection, because if you are a drug addict, for instance, you may be using needles, and drug addicts, we know that they are prone to getting hepatitis B. So we would not be able to donate blood if you're a drug addict.
And
but if you drink alcohol, you can donate blood, provided when you come to donate blood, you are sober.
Okay. In fact, you again. Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah, and let's talk about eating and and drinking before and after donating blood. I mean, if I'm supposed to come in at 10 o'clock to donate blood. So, is there any diet I'm supposed to follow or refrain?
No. You just follow your normal diet, and the reason why we say you must eat and drink some water is because obviously after donating blood, you lose some plasma, which is a liquid, and two, in case you faint, we must be able to differentiate that your faint is not because of low sugar, for instance. So if you have eaten and have drank water, we are then assured that you are healthy.
And after you donated blood, how soon can you eat?
We actually provide biscuits while you are donating. That's the only thing. And we also provide you with drinks, so you can eat as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Actually, to encourage it that to eat.
Okay.
But the plasma that you have left, the liquid part, will be replaced within minutes, within hours. So you don't have to worry about that. It's only the red cells, the red component, that takes a bit of time to be replaced. That is why we are saying you can only come and donate after 56 days, because that allows your body to replace the red cells.
Okay. I'm looking at some of the questions coming through. Can I drive home after donating blood? Am I okay to drive?
Yeah, you're okay to drive. I mean, most of our donors would drive into the clinics and they would donate blood, but you have to stay some few minutes, provided you are very okay after donating blood. There's nothing precluding you from donating blood, but you cannot fly.
Yeah, of course. Doc, I think that about wraps up our discussion. I want to thank you for joining me on the program. But before, you don't get away without giving a message to our listeners. And I'm sure you have a message to our listeners.
I have a message to our listeners. It's a World Blood Donor Day. And again, at South African National Blood Service, we want to thank you for keeping our stocks at the levels that we are at. We have sufficient blood currently, and we want to thank you for that. And we want to encourage you to keep rolling up your sleeves so as to keep the blood stock at the level that they're at now, which is current, so that we're able to provide blood when our patients need blood. And the problem with blood is that if you don't get it at the time that you need it, the chances are you may never need it again because you might die. Again, we thank you, loyal blood donors. We are very encouraged by you showing up. And also, if you have not thought about donating blood, I hope at the end of this interview, you will certainly think about donating blood. And I thank for having been invited to this wonderful radio station.
I want to thank you for joining us, Doctor. In fact, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We spoke to Dr. Solomuzi Ngcobo, the South African National Blood Services Senior Manager, and Dr. Ngcobo manages all medically related governance, risk and compliance, and he's also the President-elect of the Africa Society for Blood Transfusion. I thank all the listeners for having tuned in and for the questions that have been forwarded to us. Medical Files will continue next week, Tuesday again, inshallah. Until then, for myself, Faizal MJ Suleman, do have a wonderful week and all the best to you. And I want to thank all the technicians and engineers in the various radio stations that have done a wonderful job this evening. From myself, Faizal MJ Suleman, till we chat again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.